Hello gentlemen and ladies, and welcome to a announcement video. That is that the House of the Dragon has been announced. A new prequel series for the Game of Thrones universe has been announced, and it is based on the Fire and Blood novels by George R.R. Martin. That's it. House of the Dragon, Fire Will Reign. There you go. That's all. Yeah, that's all you need to know. No, I have a little bit more information. Not much information has been announced, but it has been announced that George R. R. Martin has been involved with the script. The staff at HBO have also kept Miguel Sapochnik involved. He is the director behind Hard Home and Battle of the Bastards and many other favoured episodes among fans. The other news is that the Long Night prequel has been scrapped, and honestly I don't blame them. It looked like it was going to be set up to be awful. It was based thousands of years before the events of the show, and it's meant to be around the White Walkers. Season 8, D&D, Dumb and Dumber, they really ruined the whole lore of the White Walkers, so having a prequel based around their start would have been just ridiculous. Also, that some of the writing team looked like they were social justice infused, so it had the potential to be just utter nonsense anyway. So it's good that that one's been cancelled in favour of a House of the Dragon, House Targaryen series, which looks like it's going to be the start of... it's been mentioned of being 300 years before the events of the show, which would lead it to Aegon's conquest and then the Civil War, which happened not long after. So I'm hoping that is what it is. I'm hoping that it's a sort of series... Take, for example, the Tudors, where it fast forwards through time a lot. I would appreciate something like that, where it does show Aegon's conquest, and maybe there's a bit more time, the characters get aged up a bit, then it shows Aegon's death, then it shows in another season the civil wars and such leading throughout time. It gives you a bit more ability to cover things. But my hopes for this series are that people like Ramin Djawadi is kept on, because his music was absolutely incredible. The man was a mastermind, so hopefully they have that guy involved still. If they don't, I'm sure they can find somebody who can do good music, but Ramin, the guy's work was really, truly incredible. So I hope they keep him on board. Another thing I'd really hope to see is some beautiful women in armor. In the Game of Thrones series, there was very rarely women in armor. You had Brienne of Tarth quite often. You had Yara / Osa Greyjoy in armor quite often. But other than that, there weren't really terribly many women in armor. Now, with this, you have the sisters. Aegon's sisters were both militaristic women. Hopefully, we get some beautiful white-haired beauties in full armor, fucking up some shit. That would really get my blood going. Also, how about some incest sex scenes? Aegon married his sisters. Let's get some white-haired individuals showing exactly how the dynasty became mad. It's always good to have sex scenes in a show. Game of Thrones they went off that. Last couple of seasons very rarely had good sex scenes anymore. I think the only thing we had in season 8 was what? Arya's bum? What the fuck, Game of Thrones? Where are the naked women at? Of course, everyone's surely under obligations. And, of course, it goes without saying, but no forced social justice warrior bullshit. That would make it terrific. And yes, I am hoping that it'll be an amazing show. I have put down a dream casting list. I'm trying not to be terribly unrealistic, as these sort of things tend to be when people put down their dream casting, but I've put down a few names. And for Aegon, I've put down Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. I think he could pull off the role of an Aegon. He's done some quite similar militaristic historical things before. He was, of course, King Henry VIII in the Tudors, which I mentioned prior. And he was the, I forget the name, but the bishop warrior in Vikings. So he's been in these sort of roles before. I think somebody like that could pull off a blonde wig, get the Welshman in for that. That's one little piece of opinion I have there. And then for a Lannister Lord, I'm not sure which. I'm not sure how they're going to make this series if they concentrate on Aegon's Conquest to go through. But at one point, a Lannister Lord who's going to be involved quite a lot. I've put down Kevin McKidd. Kevin McKidd, many people wanted to be in Game of Thrones as Jon Connington. I think this will be a good way to get him involved with the series. HBO has worked with him before. He was Lucius Vorenus in Rome, so I think there is potential to have somebody like that involved. And then for Orys, I've put down something which I don't think would be terribly possible, and that is Tom Hardy. Orys is meant to be a big, strong warrior here. Tom Hardy's a bit older than 20 years old, but I'm sure they'll have a bit of leniency on the age. Tom Hardy, if you're going to have a big, strong commander, who's better than Bane himself? Get the big man in and see how that goes. As for a Durandon or Lord Durandon, I've put down James Purefoy, which was another actor who HBO has worked with before. He was Mark Antony in Rome. I think if you give that man a bit, I think he could really pull off a Baratheon ancestor. I think something like that would be good for the casting there. And I'm not sure which Lord, whether it's Tully or a Gardner, but if you get Ewan McGregor involved, I'd be deeply appreciative of that. And yeah, just look towards British shows for some good actors. Leave your opinions down below. As for the sisters, the Targaryen sisters, I'm not entirely sure at all, because you want one who's going to be more militaristic, and you want one who's going to be more seductive. So I have looked through historical shows. One actress that did stand out to me was Holiday Granger, who played Lucrezia Borgia in The Borgias. I think perhaps somebody like that, even though she's in her early 30s now, if we age up all the characters by 10 years, maybe she could pull off one of the old dearest sisters here. Rhaenys, the more lustful kind perhaps, but let me know if you know any young British, Canadian, American actresses, preferably British, maybe even somewhere Germanic if they're going to go with Targaryens being authentically foreign. Something like Scandinavian casting for the Targaryens or Germanic casting would fit a lot more there if they do want to truly make them feel like foreigners, and then have the rest of Westeros played by more European-based people. Send the family into hiding. How many men have they sent over there? Yeah, send the family into hiding, even though they should be with me. They really should. But still, we'll send them into hiding, and then we'll burn down his house, and we'll move our ships around. But this isn't important. This is just a bit of background for you. But there's my ideas on a cast, and some of the things that I would like to see. But I'm more interested in what you, the viewers here, think. If we get some ideas down below in the comments section of who you think would be good for casting or storyline, or how you think the show should be handled, what sort of staff that should get involved, let me know down below, and I will pay attention to your thoughts, because I have a view of my own. I've put my view pretty forward here, and that'll be something down the line of how the Tudors was handled, showing many different it's many different generations, but through the eyes of one particular character. Perhaps if they do it as a sort of crossover from Aegon to Maegor or whoever else they decide to go with, because they do like their point of view characters. I think it does work quite a lot. But yeah, go ahead and let me know. Let me know your casting as well. And I would greatly appreciate that. But just imagine Kevin McKidd. Kevin McKidd with his ginger hair as a Lannister, maybe dyed blonde, but I think he could pull off the look of as a Tywin ancestor, perhaps. And maybe we could get Ewan McGregor down here. You know, why not? Ewan McGregor. What kind of better man could you ask for? And then of course, James Purefoy. These are the ones that came to mind for me first. That's it'd be interesting to see how they handle the dragons, because Balerion the Black Dread is meant to be fucking humongous during this time. As you see, the fucker's just burning everyone alive here. 10,000 people. He's meant to be a lot stronger than Was there Dragon Ball? Not, was it Rhaegal? No, not Rhaegal. Drogon. Drogon, of course. That'll be very. Oh yes, of course, Lady Tarf. Let's execute you. We don't want these damn Tarfs getting around to me. That's all I've really got to say on matter. If you want to leave your comments down below, let me know your opinions and thoughts on this. I'll greatly appreciate it. If you want to join a Discord server, there is a link down below there where we will be starting up a chat room for the prequel. See you guys there. Thank you for watching. And of course, goodbye.